We're back.
We're back.
What's up, my homie?
Oh, not too much, Kevin. Keeping busy with school and then baseball, and
Your kids had a nice baseball run.
they did. They're still playing. Hey, fall baseball now, baby.
Unlike the Reds.
Unlike the Reds, those bum Reds that kept me off the radio for 2 hours yesterday. And for those of you that don't know, I co-host a sports talk radio show on ESPN 680 1057 in Louisville. It's called The Take. My co-host Andy Sweeney and I like to have a good time, joke around. Kevin is a listener and gets to hear the shenanigans, so we appreciate that, my brother. Thank you very much. But yeah, man, those damn Reds finally lost, and now they won't be interrupting the show any longer because I just have to get my hot takes out there, being a hot take artist and all.
Well, this is, with Round of Shots, you and I connected in the past, and it's like within the first minute of us doing a show together, I already knew I liked you, and I wanted to have that vibe, have your take, no pun intended,
right,
on the podcast. And, we've had a nice little run with our sports stuff.
We did.
And then we did some paranormal stuff, and but Tiffany wanted to say, because I was talking to her earlier today. She's like, "Send James my love." Blah blah blah. So,
hi, Tiffany.
Yeah, we're all family there. So
absolutely.
This is Round of Shots, and I've kind of changed the format a little bit. It's Round of Shots hosted by Kevin Hale featuring James Streble, and I get to bring your afternoon energy. Hopefully you save some of it.
Oh, absolutely. It's always ready to go. There's never a dull moment.
Right. And obviously we're Kentucky fans, and we're going to talk Kentucky sports, primarily football and basketball. Right. We kind of save the other podcast people to talk baseball, soccer, rifle. We have talked the rifle team. How is the rifle team?
Have.
How our UK's rifle team, is that right? Rifle team?
It's the rifle team that's really good and wins all the national championships and beats like all the military academies and makes everybody feel
future snipers of the world are at the University of Kentucky. Wow.
It makes everyone feel a little inadequate because, if this college team's beating supposedly the best marksmen and markswomen in the world for the military academies, it's kind of like, what the hell is going on? Maybe the Kentucky team needs to go to the military and beef up their like you said, their snipers a little bit. So yeah, I always found it a little weird that like Army would lose to Kentucky or whatever.
It would be kind of cool. Not kind of cool. That's not right. But if have you ever heard someone say, shooter at 10 o'clock, and the guy's wearing like a UK shirt?
Oh yeah,
no.
It's like, uh-oh,
that's a little too much. Anyways, so tonight, James, we've got two segments. First segment, we're going to be bringing on David Bouvier, Justin Jeffries, both former UK players,
right?
To recap the Auburn game, look ahead to Ole Miss, talk SEC football. We're going to piggyback on an article you put out on Sea of Blue, The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. And
cool.
Yeah, we're going to use that. So that article is, paying forward for us anyways.
Yes, absolutely.
And then we'll take a little bit of a break, come back around 9:30 with Terry Brown and Carrie Lewis, and then we'll do our little, what we've been known for, round of shots.
Sure.
Couple topics, several topics to throw out, rapid fire stuff. So without further ado, check us out. Look at who we got here. Oops, I just dropped it. There you go. Yes.
Baby.
What's going on, fella? Hey guys.
Let's introduce Justin first. Justin, back 2007? Is that when you? Yeah.
2006 through 2009 for my
2009. Okay. Justin, welcome. This is the first time I've got to meet Justin. I know, James, you did the on the ESPN 680. You did the pre and post game show with Justin.
Pre and post game, and Justin and I have done radio before. We've done some afternoon radio together. Super cool dude. I learned something new about Justin this weekend. He was actually all SEC freshman team, which I didn't know. So he likes to strut and throw it out there.
That's back in the day, though. That's a long time ago. Listen, with Bouvier here, he makes me feel old. That's why there's no hair on top of my head. I'm looking over the man's face right now, and I'm like, listen, I used to be young and studly like that, but not anymore.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's introduce David. David, speaking of studly, because this is true. ending the Florida streak
Yeah.
was monumental for us Kentucky fans. And, Bouvier, your name was very proudly, called, during the game. So, the first touchdown, right?
Yeah. To start the game off, Terry drove us down the field, and man, he had an awesome game. Benny was doing what Benny does that game. It was just one of those games where you're just firing all cylinders.
Lynn Bowden's touchdown at the end.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah,
he's pretty good. Yeah. Justin, before we get started, no offense, you were part of the history of that 31 game streak.
I was.
What was? Did you watch or get to see our Cats in the streak that night?
Absolutely. So at that point, I think that was 2 years ago. So at that point, I had a 2-year-old who was asleep upstairs. So Bouvier, I appreciate you making me wake my 2-year-old up with your first touchdown. But yes, I was. I watched all the Cats. I injected into my veins, as some would say, cat football. But yes, I was. I watched the whole game. Excited. I didn't cry. No, I didn't cry. But
it's okay.
There was some emotion there. Yeah.
No shame in the crying game.
No, I didn't cry, but there was some emotion. It was fun to watch. We dominated, just how I thought we would.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So David, again.
Thank you, David.
Thanks.
If I had
Thank you, David.
No problem. Yeah.
All right, let's jump in. We are gathered here today for our re-debut, James, to talk for this first segment, primarily Kentucky football. The trip to Auburn. I thought it was going to be a little closer. I was probably more disappointed than okay with the performance. James, you put out an article on a sea of blue, the good, bad, and the ugly, and that's kind of how we're going to drive the talking points from the game. So I'm going to start with you. What was the good from the Auburn game?
To me, they outgained Auburn both in the rushing game and the passing game. Offensively, even though they didn't make it into the end zone as much as we would have liked, offensively, they got yardage. They outgained Auburn. I thought that looked pretty good. Cavassier Smoke with a 62-yard touchdown. I talked to Justin, not 62-yard touchdown. He had 62 yards and a touchdown. Justin and I talked about on the post-game show. Give that man the rock. Cavassier Smoke, in my opinion, is the best running back on the team, and they just seem to have forgotten about him in the second half. So I don't know what's up with that, but, we can talk about that later. But that was the good to me, was just, they proved they can move the ball. They proved they can gain yards. They just weren't able to finish the drive. So that was my good aspect of the game.
We'll go to Justin. Justin, that offensive line is top notch. It's one of the best in the nation. So running the ball, moving the ball with the run game didn't surprise me, but it disappeared.
Yeah, and James, me and you talked about this some too. I feel like we got in a rhythm. There in the first half, we were moving the ball really well. Up front, we were pushing guys around, and it worked very, very well. And then at some point, rear ends got tight. I don't know, on the coaching side, player side, whatever, but we got away from the running game. And, with that being said, Auburn made
adjustments.
God, there we go. Yeah, Auburn made adjustments.
We're starting to work together more.
I know. You knew what I was thinking.
Right.
But Auburn made adjustments, and I don't know if we didn't make adjustments or if we didn't make the right one. But I was very pleased with the way we moved the ball in the first half, up until the infamous no touchdown, and then the interception there to kind of cap off the first half.
David, finish the good part of the game.
Yeah, I would say we held our own. It's an away game, even though there's less fans down there. That's tough opening up against
those
Auburn,
numbers, those fans. That count looked a little bit more than what they were saying.
Yeah, I'm sure they sneak in some people here and there, but that's a tough game. The last several years we've been warming up with those Mack teams and everything else. I think that makes a difference. You don't you go right right into away game at Auburn, top 10 team. I mean, that's tough, and you can't turn the ball over. I mean, that's the name of the game, right? You can't. I mean, that's especially on the road. I mean, it's hard to come back from something like that.
Again, James, staying with good. Give me another goodie from the game.
I thought Josh Paschal and DeAndre Square both played up to their potential. I thought they were getting to the quarterback. They were putting pressure on the quarterback. Honestly, they are really some of the only two players that were like in the backfield for most of the game. I thought, defensively, I was a little disappointed in the defense, but at least those two players I felt were making their presence known on the field. And Square had an awesome backfield tackle. I believe in the first half just stopped him stone cold, and Paschal looked more like his old self from before he had the cancer treatments and everything. So that would be my other good from the game.
Justin, I touched on the offensive line. What was your take on? I mean, did the line to you live up to the hype?
I think they were meh. They were okay. They were good in some aspects, but there was some work that needs to be done, in other aspects. To build off of that, I think first half Terry was good. He managed the game well in the first half, and James, me, you, and Ince got into a pretty heated debate about it. But first half Terry was good. Let's be honest. He distributed the rock well, threw the ball very well. I don't care if they were dicks and dunks, whatever. I still think he managed the game very well, which is what we asked him to do. But I think the offensive line was okay. They were okay with it. It would be how I put it.
Okay, so not bad or ugly. So
yes, exactly. Man,
check this out, Justin. This is the cool part about the show. Rob Lockstein, Justin. I think you forgot the word. Just missed on the hook name from Moody.
Oh, dude, that's my dude, Brad Moody. I got some fans teaming up on me.
Yeah, so this is a very cool feature, James. When we get
It's
cool. So, David, one last good I thought we could throw out, and you being a fellow brother wide receiver, was Josh Ali.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's a stud. He's when he came in as a freshman, I was like, this guy's got major potential, and he always showed it in practice. It was good to see him doing it in the games, and got young guys like Akeem Hayes. He got in there, got a touchdown. Some freshmen got some playing time, so that was good to see. And with Terry back in there and healthy, they're starting to sling the rock around a little more. So, and I know the receivers are happy about that. They had their blocking year last year, so
God, that's got to be terrible.
You're talking about ultimate team players.
Hey, I got out at the right time. We threw it at least a little bit before.
That's awesome.
I don't know. I'm sure your blocking game would have been strong.
I mean, it was solid, but I wasn't the most physically imposing guy out there.
You're just the best looking.
Right.
No wide receiver wants to block. Leave that to the big uglies like me. No wide receiver wants to block.
Yeah.
All right. James, you're round out. Are you ready for a comment?
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Michelle. Appreciate that. Yeah. Hey, I'm still losing. So
Trim like a bicycle rim.
That's right. Almost down 100 pounds, baby. Yeah.
All right. Let's switch to the ugly. James, start with you.
To me, the you want bad or ugly?
No, I mean I said ugly.
Okay. The bad. Obviously, the missed touchdown was bad. I mean, I look, I get it. They tried to justify it like, oh, they made the call on the field where it was not a touchdown. They act like they didn't have enough evidence to overturn it to make it a touchdown. But we all know it was a touchdown. We all watched it live.
How can they not get this?
I don't know, man.
It's 20. I know 2020 is a messed up year, and maybe 2020 is wreaking havoc on technology. But how do you miss that call?
I don't know, but the officials had a bad game overall. I mean, you could tell it was their first game too, and to have an officiating crew, their first game back is this, a big time SEC game where you have two. I thought they were evenly matched until about halfway through the third quarter, Justin, where the wheels started coming off a little bit. But Kentucky was standing toe to toe with them, and that play, I think, knocked them down, and they really just could not get back up. You score there, you get the ball back in the second half, and you're rolling. You are absolutely rolling. I think the gameplay changes, the calls change. I think the run game all of a sudden does become a bigger part of the offense, what they were trying to do. But I think it just knocked them off, and they never got back on track. So that was my bad aspect, that missed touchdown, stolen touchdown, really.
Stolen. There it is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to David first. David, you're bad from the game.
I'd say the secondary could have been better, especially Coach Stoops' secondary. They kind of let some big plays, a couple touchdowns. That's unlike them. Hopefully they'll see the film and make some adjustments, but would have liked to see some better play out of those guys.
Justin, you're bad.
My bad. I'm going to have to go with the coaching staff with the second half adjustments. I mean, obviously Auburn made adjustments and we didn't. That's always been kind of a bugaboo with Stoops. And, I love Stoops and I love the coaching staff. Don't get me wrong. But I think sometimes, the opposing teams make halftime adjustments, and we either make the wrong ones or we don't make any at all. And that seemed to be kind of stuck in my craw on the bad side.
James, to me, one of the bad was I thought was Terry's game. I mean, how much? I know it's his first game back from the injury, but how were they catering to him a little too much, do you think?
I kind of felt that way a little bit. I thought 37 attempts is a little too much for Terry Wilson. And look, Justin's right. We got into a really heated debate on the post-game show. And
that was fun too, by the way.
It was
fun. What was the debate?
The co-host almost walked out of the
what was the debate?
Over Terry Wilson. Is this conversation right now? I just was, I think Terry Wilson is a fine quarterback, and he deserves to be the starter. But I do think he has his limitations. I do think asking him to throw the ball 37 times isn't a winning formula. And he turns the ball. He's had turnover problems in the past. He had 2 crucial turnovers in this game. I mean, look, I know that was a dumb play call. They should have never had him roll and sprint out and throw it with like 1.5 yards, 2 yards to go. They put him in a bad spot. He had that, and then the fumble. He just dropped that ball. I mean, no one even really hit him. He just dropped it, and in both those turnovers, Well,
the first turnover is, I guess it is technically. You're talking about the one that got the penalty that got called back on the interception.
Yeah, it was still an interception. I mean,
it's still there, right?
It's still an interception. I mean, it still was a chance to score points. They weren't able to do it because of the interception, and then the second turnover ended up in points for Auburn. So. Both turnovers were absolutely killer for Kentucky. So, I mean, if I were to give them a grade, it'd be like a C-, I think, for that game. That's just, you can't turn the ball over like that in those situations.
David, jump in on that.
Yeah. I agree completely. He's kind of had some issues with that. And, I don't like how we get out of attack mode a lot of times on offense. We tend to get complacent, especially, when we're up and we have any lead whatsoever. I'm always a big fan of just, keep doing what's working and keep going downfield even when you have a lead. That's
like a Nick Saban mentality.
Exactly.
You got to have that dog. You got to have
right. Yes, exactly.
Justin, follow up on that.
I won't give Terry a C-. I'll give him a C. I mean, average. I mean, he was average. You subtract those, which I know you can't. That's revisionist history, but you subtract those. Even one of those turnovers. I mean, he's a C+ B player. But he unfortunately he kind of lived up to the wrong nickname, which was Turnover Terry instead of Touchdown Terry. Now we've seen him make that transition, and then start to, it was still his first game. Let's be honest. It was first game in over a year. So you knew we were going to have some hiccups. I thought like I said before, I thought he did well during the majority of the game. But, when it came down to crunch time, those 2 turnovers cost us the game. Let's just be honest. They cost us the ball game.
Yeah.
I think it's a fair statement. All right, James, the ugly now.
Oh, for me, the ugly was Seth Williams getting his moss on. Shoving him in the face and flexing on him. And look, this came from Andy.
He's kind of tall though, too, right? When he's like a 6.
They were pretty evenly matched
Okay.
as far as height's concerned. I mean, Kelvin Joseph's a pretty tall dude. But still, this from Andy Sweeney, I think what happened because normally that's a flag, right? That's a 15-yard personal foul penalty flag 10 times out of 10. But I think that Kelvin Joseph had been chirping a little bit all game long, and I think when Seth Williams made that grab and give him the little shove, I think the refs just kind of held on that flag, like, yeah, you may have gotten what you deserved in that situation. So that was ugly, man. It was a beautiful catch if you're an Auburn fan, but as a Kentucky fan, that was embarrassing. Oof.
Yeah, Justin, you're ugly.
My ugly. I'm gonna go back to the turnovers. Like I said, it cost us the ball game. I mean, that was disgusting. I wouldn't even call it ugly. I think it was disgusting. Those 2 turnovers, especially that last one.
Change that title on your article.
The bad.
Seth Williams is 6'3". He's 6'3". I think Kelvin Joseph is what? Is he 5'10"? So yeah, he's
Is he okay? I thought he was taller than that.
I'm pretty sure. But anyway, I think the turnovers, especially in inopportune times, you can't do that. That's grotesque, disgusting, ugly. You call it what you want.
A lot of
these offensive guys hate these turnovers, man.
Hey, I do my job, do yours.
The name of the game.
I do my job, do yours. David, ugly.
Oh, man, of course the turnovers, building on what James and Justin said, but Kelvin, that unsportsmanlike play where he pushed the receiver. I mean, you can't do that. It's just such a bonehead move. I know Coach Stoops is going to rip him a new one. He already has. He's probably still running right now. I mean, it's just you got to have more discipline than that.
That new one hasn't healed yet, James.
Yeah,
I'd say that's his first game in over a year too, because he transferred.
That's a good point.
That is true.
Yeah,
right.
He was set out last season, so I'm sure he had. Look, he's a good player. I mean, there's a lot of good secondary players, and for him to get that first game start over guys that have been there, I mean, tells you what his talent level is. So hopefully he can get things together because he's going to have a big job against Ole Miss on Saturday. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nice segue, James. Ole Miss comes in town, and I tell you what,
professional, Kevin.
You are. That's why this show spares no expense. I having you on. Ole Miss. I did not realize their offensive. Actually, to be quite honest, I totally forgot. Lane Kiffin had not been mentioned. So heading into this weekend, I didn't have my feelers out to see what Lane Kiffin was going to do. That offense did something. They made some noise.
Oh yeah.
Concerned?
We talked to Mike Borky, who's he hosts a sports talk radio show in Mississippi, and he gave us the breakdowns. Like, look, Lane Kiffin knows his defense stinks. So what he's going to do is he's going to pull every trick play, creative play, anything he can. He's like, if my defense isn't going to be good, I'm going to score the damn ball, and we're going to have fun on offense. So that's going to be the MO for Ole Miss coming into Kentucky on Saturday. So this defense that was kind of as stealing from Justin Jeffries, meh. The defense was kind of meh. They're going to have to step up their game because Lane Kiffin is not going to hold back at all. He's going to want to put up 50 if he can. And then for the defense, I mean, look, for the offense, the Ole Miss defense isn't very good. You've got to get right this week. Terry Wilson is a perfect bounce back game opportunity for him because the Ole Miss defense is almost non-existent.
Well, I mean, Justin, let me say with you because you're an offensive line guy, is Ole Miss's defense soft enough where we should, utilize the run game a lot more? Ball control, that kind of
absolutely. I mean, this has ball control written all over it. I mean, when you have and David, you can attest to this. When you have a high-powered offense, what do? You got to go toe-to-toe with them, but you got to control the clock. And that comes with running the football. No 3 and outs. You got to put this on the offensive line. You got to just say, all right, guys, we're going to run it, and we're going to run it, and we're going to keep running it, and then we can't run it, we're going to run it some more. That's just the way you have to win, games like this when you have an offense that can put up so many points like the Lane train choo can put on.
Lane Kiffin, David, Ole Miss, your take.
They looked pretty scary in week 1. I mean, they lost, but that offense is clicking. It looks like our strong suit, I'd say, is our defense. So it'll be interesting. And they don't have a great defense, certainly not as good as Auburn. So hopefully our offense gets a little bit more flow, less turnovers, and I think it'll be a fun game.
Is James we're not dealing with the potential quarterback controversy, are we?
No, I don't think so. Look at Justin's face.
Well, I mean, was it Joey Gatewood?
Yeah,
if you will. I like that one. I'm gonna get a T-shirt made of that.
I mean, that handshake, that whole thing is crazy. But
yeah, that proves right there. I mean, I know both coaches denied the handshake agreement that he wouldn't play against Auburn, but he was eligible last night. I mean, that definitely, I think, happened. Mark Stoops commented on it today, and he said that actually Bo Allen's had more reps with the second team, obviously because he was eligible, but he's like Gatewood had plenty of reps during the practice camp, and that it is Terry Wilson's job, and that's who the coaching staff is most focused on. They're focused on Terry Wilson, but I do think Joey Gatewood will see him Saturday. I think whether it be a run package, kind of like a wildcat or something of that nature, because he's a big, strong, powerful guy, and I think they're going to try to utilize him in that way. But I mean, look, I think if Terry Wilson has 2 more games where he's turning the ball over and inconsistent, I think we might see
2 more. James, we only have a 10-game season, and we're already 0-1. I mean,
hey, I'm just they're going to give Terry every chance in the book. I mean, he's earned that. He's earned it. He was there during the 10-win season. He beat Florida. He had the injury. He deserves to get many chances he gets. But look, like you said, it's a short season. So if we're 1-2 or 0-3, you may see some movement back there, and if it's because of turnovers and things like that, then you may see some movement in that position. But I don't think you should be scared right now.
Okay, Justin, I'm going to start with you. Prediction for Saturday.
Prediction for Saturday. Oh man, I haven't really thought about it. You'd think I would have, knowing I was going to be on a podcast about football. I feel
nothing's scripted here, so that's okay.
That works better for me. I'm strictly straight off the cuff type of guy.
There you go.
Hell yeah.
But for me, I'm going to go back to controlling the ball, controlling the clock.
I think that's important.
If the defensive line can get pressure on the quarterback, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, I have no idea who the Ole Miss quarterback is, nor should I. I don't know if he's a pocket passer. I don't know if he's a scrambler. It doesn't matter. It's Ole Miss football. But with that being said, if we can get pressure on him, it doesn't matter what kind of tricks and dicks and dunks that they do. If you got pressure in your face, you can't make those plays. So if the defensive line can get pressure on the quarterback, and then we can control the clock, control the ball, mush them, take over both lines of scrimmage, I think we'll be in good shape. I'm going to say 31-20 Kentucky. Let's go.
Ooh, 20. 31-20.
That was it. I don't know if I like that anymore. I haven't done that in a long time.
It's a sound bite now, so you got to stay with it.
Smoke? Is there smoke coming out of my ear?
Dave, what say you?
I'm thinking Ole Miss will see a lot better defense than they did last week. I think we're more physical than them on both sides of the ball. Maybe a little lower scoring, maybe 24-17.
Oh, okay.
That's it. Yeah. I think
Okay.
I think our offense will start clicking a little better.
Damn it.
Give me your prediction, James.
All right. I look, I'm with ball control. I'm with being able to push them around. I think they will be able to push them around in the trenches. All right. I'm going to go Kentucky 28, Ole Miss 24. 28-24.
Close ball game. I like that.
Yeah. Close game.
Very close. I think it's going to be a close game. But it will not surprise me if they outscore us. Just saying.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. It can happen, man.
I can't pick against them twice. I picked against them last week.
Yeah, it is. That's true. I mean, because falling 0-2 This is we don't have a
That's
it's a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
All right. Good first half of a show, James.
Hell yeah, this has been fun so far.
That was fun. I
Yeah.
appreciate
That was
it.
great.
All right. We're gonna go to our second segment in a moment, but Justin, David, thanks for hanging with us for our re-debut, and we'll do it again because I like this little vibe here.
It was fun.
Sounds good. Anytime.
All right, guys, have a good night.
You too, guys.
You too.
All right, later, Justin. Later, Dave.
Some good people there.
Yeah. Like I was telling you earlier, with Justin, working with him and everything, he's awesome, and Dave's gonna be great. But Justin's my dude, so I've enjoyed talking with him.
I thought we were going to take a quick break.
Oh, okay.
No, it's all right. I had a nice little break music and video package, but we're kind of
because I literally just got off another podcast and got my computer and jumped on this one.
Appreciate it.
That's the podcast queen.
I'm telling
you what.
It was a trivia podcast with we did it with John. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I love
Terry Brown. What's your nickname this week, Terry?
Lake Show, baby.
All right. So this is the welcome, Carrie and Terry. Yeah. That is always kind of cool to have the rhyming names and with us on the podcast. So this is our re-debut, James, and we thought we got to have our people. So
our good friends here, old friends.
Yeah. So we're going back to the little format, if you will, where the second half of the show, one half of the show when we do our shows is going to be the hot takes. So we're trying to keep it in a time frame so we can get all the topics in. But I need you to do me a favor, James. I need you to kind of shift in co-host mode because I gotta step away for just a second, talk to our people, let them get reacquainted with everybody, and I'll be
absolutely
right back.
sure, no problem. All right, Terry Brown, who does a lot. I mean, Cats Talk Wednesday. He does stuff for ESPN during basketball season on the radio, helping Jason Ince and I on that front. So, how you doing, Terry? It's been a while. We text every once in a while, but I hadn't talked to you in a while, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, man. It's the Rona times, but in these unprecedented times, I'm doing good, so I cannot complain at all.
And congratulations is in order as you're a newly engaged man. So congrats to you, sir.
Man, that tweet blew up. We're at 567,000 likes.
Whoa!
It was the strangest thing. Yeah. So that Saturday proposed, sent out a quick, hey, she said yes, 1,000 likes. I did the one with SpongeBob SquarePants where it was like, okay, we met on Twitter, yada, yada, yada. And it got to 10,000 likes. Okay. And I said, oh, okay. And then went to bed at 20,000 likes. Woke up with 120,000 likes. Jake Tapper of CNN retweeted it. Meghan McCain retweeted it.
What is this?
Wow.
I'm sorry. What was it?
His engagement.
My engagement tweet that went.
Jake Tapper retweet.
Meghan McCain, Colin Hanks, Tom Hanks.
Colin Hanks?
Yeah. Josh Radner of How I Met Your Mother.
Whoa.
Retweeted it. He's like, this is a great story. And the thing that threw me the most was the actual Twitter account retweeted it. Like at Twitter retweeted it. And I was like, yeah. So that's how we got to 560,000 likes. Almost 570. So it's been a roller coaster ride.
So after this week or whenever the Lakers finish off the Heat, it's going to be just the show, Terry Brown, not the Lakers. The show.
Yeah, something like that.
All right. So again, we're round of. I keep biting my tongue. Not shooting from lip. That's another one. It's easy plug for my other podcast. But round of shots, sports podcast show. Actually, it's more of a show. Tonight's a show, and then the audio and video will be out later. But we're streaming on YouTube, Periscope for now. Kind of trying it, James, away from Facebook.
Yeah.
catering to Twitter and see how we do. And
I like it.
because you guys are Twitter people, clearly.
Yeah.
And I am actually slowly starting to get back into it. So I know we kind of had a planned hard stop at 10. So if we go a little over 10, everybody kind of good. Just a few minutes. Not
Yeah, a few
too
minutes is
far.
good.
All right. All right. This is the round of shots hot take segment. So first topic, James, you got to get your say in earlier. So let's start with them, and then you can kind of piggyback off
Sure.
what they're saying. Start with you, Terry. Let's talk UK football. First of all, recap the Auburn game. Takeaway from the Auburn.
Yeah, I'm not as disheartened as a lot of people. We knew Auburn was going to be tough going in. I know we kind of talked ourselves into the Cats going down there and blowing them out, but Auburn is a good team. I think the no call, which I'm still baffled by, I think that kind of really took the wind out of the team's sails. You figure if they can at least get 3 at the end of the first and then maybe score the first possession of the second half, it's a different ball game as it was going into the fourth quarter with a close game. I'm still encouraged rather than discouraged, but looking ahead, got to win against Ole Miss. You cannot be 0-2 in this short season.
Carrie, Lewis, and your news. What's your news for the takeaway from the Auburn game?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Terry on most counts. I'm not completely discouraged. I saw some real great things. This, honestly, and I tweeted this out, seriously, this is the best offensive line I have ever seen at UK. I mean,
did
period.
They live up to the hype, though?
To me, I think they did.
Okay.
They have the size, they have the speed, they have the agility, they have the ability. Now, is the play calling their fault? Not necessarily. They have to block their schemes, right? That they're told to block. They very few penalties that usually shoot us in the foot. Usually we've got a bunch of holds, a bunch of false starts. Now, we did have the 12 men on the field thing, which, that is what that is. But, they only had a couple holds. I think they only had like one false start. So I was really encouraged by that. I thought the defense was okay. I think Terry needed those cupcake games at the beginning that we didn't get. I really felt like he wasn't doing his checkdowns and his reads as effectively as he should have been. There were a couple of times I felt like he just turned and threw the ball. And I think that those tune-up cupcake whatever games would have helped that. But yeah, overall, I don't think it was near as bad as everybody was doom and glooming about at the end.
Yeah, Terry, Carrie just pointed or mentioned his checks. Terry, to me, in that's still a developing part of his game.
Well, and it's a timing thing. Like Carrie said, usually you get, a couple of warm-up games to at least get used to game day speed. He's
not like those directional schools, right?
Yeah, and he's been hands off during practice. Practice has not been what it usually is because of the COVID-19. So this is what I was expecting. Anyone expected him to kind of pick up immediately where he left off. To me, that's a little foolhardy.
And that's kind of where I had by. It's like, look, I understand. And to me, going back to Carrie's play calling comment, I didn't like the fact that they had him thrown it 37 times. I mean, because like you said, he didn't get any of those warm-up games. You're going right at Auburn. And I thought the ball was in his hands a little too much. And then with the 2 turnovers that he had were disappointing. I mean, if they cut down those passes, they cut down on chances for him to turn it over, make him feel a little more comfortable saying, oh, Terry, by the way, it's your first game back in over a year. We need to throw it 40 times. I mean, that's a tall order for anybody, Terry Wilson included. I mean, that's not easy to do when you've not played football in over a year. So, I said it earlier, I think that Ole Miss is a perfect bounce back game for him. Defensively, they're not as tough as Auburn. And I really expect the UK offensive line to have their way with them and give him plenty of time and get that confidence back up. Because in the first half, man, he was looking good until that interception. touchdown pass, throwing it down the field a little bit. So, but I thought it was too much of the coaching staff to ask him to throw the ball 37 times in that game.
Well, let me challenge you a little bit on the 37. The 37 is a little bit inflated because of the fourth quarter playing catch up. So they're trying to they're going to be passes. So again, I don't knock Eddie Grant. I actually think he's an amazing offensive coordinator, but I'm still, to use Terry's word, baffled about the fact that how we got away from running the ball. You mentioned Cavassier Smoke. I mean, your take was that he's our best running back.
Yeah.
It's a solid argument. Chris Rodriguez is our most brutal. I mean, we've got that three-headed monster still in the backfield and that offensive line. Why did we get away from that, James? Why?
I don't know. I think
I need you to know.
I think there's maybe too many running backs. I mean, I hate to say that, but I think a guy like Cavassier Smoke.
But it's still one running play at a time.
Well, I'd argue there's 4 runners on that, we got 3 running backs, but then Terry, man, he can pull the ball down and run.
But at the same time, it's like, man, as a running back, you've got to build within the game. It's hard to run 2 plays. Okay, now you're out. Now it's the next guy up. I mean, when Benny Snell was the feature back, it was Benny Snell and Benny Snell, and that was it. I mean, they throw A.J. Rose in there every once in a while. But as a running back, I mean, if you're a good running back, you pick up steam as the game goes on. You get stronger as your offensive line starts to wear down that defensive line, and all of a sudden, your running back's finding holes. I think it's a tough ask to try to work all 3 of those guys in. I mean, how much did we see Cavassier Smoke in the second half? He had the long touchdown run, and in my opinion, he's the best one on the team. And it's like they just forgot about him. It's like, oh, well, and I'm not trying to bag on Rodriguez or Rose, but give that man the damn ball. I mean, give him the ball, and let's get something going with this run game. Quit trying to please everybody and spread it out. Win the bleeping game. Give Cavassier Smoke the ball. Shoot.
That bothered me. The whole. I didn't think we try to utilize or continue to utilize, because the first quarter I thought we did, but then it just slowly went away. Joey Gatewood, as I call it, Carrie. He gets his eligibility cleared. What's your take on the whole Joey Gatewood saga?
I don't know. I mean, did he get his eligibility cleared because of this gentleman's agreement that was supposedly between Auburn and UK? I don't know. Right. But then the Cade kid that went from, I think, Georgia to Tennessee, he got cleared. But I think Ole Miss is still waiting to get somebody cleared.
A defensive back. Yeah.
And I think another school that I cannot remember off the top of my head in the SEC is waiting to get somebody cleared too.
I don't need all these SEC transfers.
Okay, yeah. Well, but the bottom line is, I'm glad he got cleared. I hope he gets some reps.
Will he get some reps this weekend?
Possibly, maybe. It depends. But I really think that fans should please don't do this. Put in Joey. Put in Gatewood. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Don't do that. Let's not do that. Terry,
that's a podcaster. I mean, that's a good response. Will he get in? Maybe, perhaps, possibly, he could. We'll see.
I commit to nothing.
You say a lot, but yet commit to it.
That's exactly right.
I love it. Terry, staying with the kind of the preview. One, will we see? Give me your take on Gatewood. Will we see him, and kind of preview Ole Miss?
Is anyone else? I'm confused that transfers have to be cleared by the NCAA and the conferences.
When did that happen? You're right.
I thought I was fairly knowledgeable about these kinds of things because generally we're always kind of just waiting for the NCAA. And now all of a sudden we find out that the
You've been stumped. They put one over on you.
And I
Terry Brown.
I thought I was generally up on these kinds of things. So that was confusing as well, because is it another team that can hold it up? I don't know all the inner workings of all that, but with him eligible now, I think he will get a little bit of playing time, but it's got to be Terry's team at this point. I think
what about that?
If you're gonna, if you want to, it's a 10-game season. You've got to go with the guy that's 12-4 as a starter. I think.
Put Gunner in.
Oh, that was the worst. The Gunner Hoke people. And
What's
then
up, Jay?
whenever he
Miss you,
went
brother.
in, he would be terrible, and people would still be like, "We need to see Gunnar Hoke." Like, no, we don't need to see Gunnar Hoke. We saw Gunnar Hoke. He's not good. Shut up.
Shut up. Is he still on Ohio State's roster? Or is he? I don't know.
I think he's done. I don't think
care.
so.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Who cares?
Yeah. He was like fourth string.
Yeah. All right. Carrie, Ole Miss prediction.
I think we win. I don't think the Fighting Kiffins have the defense, especially if we stick with the run. They don't have the defense to keep up with our offensive line. That was pretty obvious when they played Florida. I think we win. I'm going to say we win by 10.
What say you, TB?
I'm going to say 28-17. I think hopefully they get back to the ball control offense because remember starting out the Auburn game, 7 of 7 on third down conversion. So if you can stay on the field on third down as an offense and get off the field as a defense.
We've got to establish the run game.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Okay,
Bread and butter.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. All right. And what's kind of cool? I've got like a few more topics to throw at you. This next one will eat up most of the time of the others. The last ones will be quick, but I got to do this, James, just for you.
Okay. Oh boy, I think I know what's coming. There you go.
Keep getting asked, Coach. Are we playing the game? Are you scared? Are you a chicken?
Yes.
As for the UK series, here's the thing. I want to do what's most convenient for John and his program.
Good. You should.
You do believe that, right? That I want to do what's best for John.
He is your daddy.
Never mind the fact that we had a December 12th mutually agreed upon date to play the game.
Yeah.
Never mind the fact that they backed out of the 12th because they were returning from London on December 6th after playing Michigan.
Yeah, pretty good game, dude.
Never mind the fact that that December 6th game got canceled. No trip to London. Can we play that game on the 12th? Never mind the fact that they scheduled Notre Dame in lieu of playing us on the mutually agreed upon date of December 12th. Never mind the fact that they called ESPN and tried to change one of our ACC games without our knowledge or permission.
It's really a weak WWE.
Never mind the fact that
Terrible.
his football program at the University of Kentucky honored that request in football to move Louisville's home game from 2020 to 2021. If you can do it in football, seems like you could do it in.
I'll turn the audio off, but I'll let him. The visual still be there. James, respond. I want to hear yours because I didn't get to hear your take on it.
You didn't hear my take on this?
No,
He was on
I heard
fire
some
yesterday.
of it. Yeah, I
He was
First,
on
I'll
fire
get this
yesterday.
L's up. I'll do my L's down.
Yeah.
All right. So basically, what my take on this is he can sit here and he can cry and moan and try to throw John Calipari under the bus. But here's the fact. The fact is this. The fact is he whined and he cried last week on some no-name podcast that no one pays attention to, John Fanta, and said, well, the equity of the game of them not playing in front of our fans, and we had to go play in front of their fans. I just don't know if the game's going to happen or not. I don't know. Equity, man. And so Cal came and said, hey, yo, bro, we're going to play this game. We want to play the game. Quit trying to run and hide and cry about the game. We want to play. And then his own fan base, Chris Mack's own fan base, was calling him out and saying, yo, dude, you look weak. Quit acting like we ain't going to play this game. So, of course, Chris Mack has to bend the knee to John Calipari because John Calipari runs basketball in the state of Kentucky. Chris Mack is 0-2 against John Calipari in his first 2 games. And last season, they had the best team. They had a higher ranked team. It don't matter what your team is, Chris Mack. It don't matter if they play in front of no fans, 1 million fans in Kentucky, in Louisville, in Missouri, in Hawaii, where you play the game where you want to play. Go ahead.
Battleship.
But here's the thing. John Calipari dictated the terms and he bent the knee. So this little tough BS video he made means nothing because guess what? John Calipari wins again, you punk.
Yeah, punk.
I can't stand him. He's approaching Rick Pitino level to me after that.
Terry, what would you take on the video?
Look, he had to come out and say something to fire up his troops. You know, he was put into a corner, and he had to come out swinging. I get it, but here's the problem.
He fired up at Cal even more.
Well, I think Cal's going to boat race him because we're still waiting on the hammer to drop with NCAA allegations. But here's the thing. Even if Louisville had a point, and, you know, I don't know if whatever Mack said was legit. 11-2 is 11-2. And if you are the two that like Louisville has been, no matter what you say, it's going to be viewed as whining.
One of those two was our NIT year, by the way.
Even if your point is legitimate, like if Jim Harbaugh at Michigan starts talking about what Ohio State's doing, it's going to come off as whining because you can't beat your rival. So for me, everybody knows I grew up a Louisville fan, the Denny Crum years and all that kind of stuff. I think I actually sent this text message to James. It breaks my heart because this used to be a proud fan base. Like, they are used to national championships and Final Fours. And the whole thing of, oh, you know, Max got Cal's number. I'm like, 11-2, 0-2. Like, Louisville used to be about more than just winning sound bites in the offseason. It used to be, we're going to beat you on the court. It's just like in 2014, Russ Smith put Julius Randle on 2 posters. But at the end of the day, he finished 0-2. So, you know, I don't understand this. And then when Kentucky fans are like, it's 11-2, what's the big deal? And then it's, oh, you mad, and we're living rent-free, and 11-2. Like, what's the argument? 37-16 overall. Like, what's the argument? Why would we be scared to play you? So that's my 2 cents on that.
Carrie Lewis, are you scared?
So first of all, look, dude, if you want to do a WWE video, go get some training from some local wrestlers or something there in Louisville to learn your game, right? To learn how to be a proper villain, because you ain't. You gotta win some to be a proper villain. And number 2, Cal doesn't care. Cal's half a Howard Hughes right now. Have you seen the dude? Have you seen his hair? He just shaved. He's watching the Alaskan bush people. He doesn't care, dude. He could care less.
He shaved because he lost the bet, right?
Yes. I mean, he's got some Howard Hughes tendencies going on from this COVID stuff that I don't want to know about, but he certainly doesn't care what Chris Mack has to say. He really does not.
Exactly. And, you know, to the beard point, the losing the bet, I mean, John Calipari's on chumming up with Shaq and Charles Barkley and, you know, on ESPN all the time. Ain't nobody want to talk to Chris Mack. Nobody want to talk to him. No one cares. He's like, Chris Mack says that. And oh, wow, Chris Mack. Ooh.
And kind of speaking of that real quick, Cal could go to the NBA Finals right now and go out on the court and say, hey, UK players who are in the NBA Finals, let's kind of have a gathering on the court here before the game. Yeah, a little reunion. Let's just do that. Hey, Chris Mack, where yours at? Oh, we're waiting.
They got sent home by Kentucky players.
Right.
Frez and Donnie got sent home. Peace, dudes.
There you go. And there you go.
And here's the thing, too. When we talk about what this rivalry is, what it used to be, since Cal took over in 2009, we have had 3 presidential elections and 2 Louisville victories.
Wow.
That's a great point.
Some more elections and victories.
For every time Louisville wins the series, Kentucky goes to 2 Final Fours. I loved Cal's response. It was simple. It was elegant. It was, you're not even worth my time for me to get my video guy out. It was, I'll see you on the 26th.
Let's go.
Oh, it'll be on. Potentially, it could be ugly. Well, let's transition real quick, Terry. Stay with you in your shirt. It is the NBA Finals. Carrie touched on it. There's some UK personalities involved here. Not just players. You got Pat Riley, Coach
Frank Vogel.
There's I mean, this whole playoff run, the backstretch of it when games are really good, it was a Kentucky promo. It's been a Kentucky promo, Terry.
The entire bubble. You look at what Devin Booker did for the Suns going undefeated. You look at the plays that the Kentucky guys are making. I mean, Jamal Murray, I don't even know what you say. I'm an NBA guy, but he got in that space where it was like, it doesn't matter what you do. And that is rarefied air to enter that space. So as a Kentucky fan, I mean, it's great. It really is. The memories, the highlights of this bubble season, it's all Cats everything. And here we are at the finals. I mean, Hero is showing out, and I thought that dude was going to be years away from contributing.
Yeah.
But he's showing out. Bam.
Jeez, Bam, yeah.
I mean,
What year is Bam right now? Year 3?
3.
3, yeah. Year 3.
So is he up for a new contract, or did he do an extension? Because if he's up for a new contract, it's going to be crazy.
They're going to re-sign him to a big thing. I mean, he was an all-star this year. He's had the defensive play of the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
And of course, the Lakers with Rondo and AD. Hopefully, they're 3 wins away. But it's been a Kentucky infomercial. Like,
I know.
James will tell you here in Louisville. For years and years, they didn't pay any attention to the NBA.
No.
Right? You remember this?
Yep.
We would say, oh, look at John Wall, look at DeMarcus, oh, the NBA, blah 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 blah. Well, then Donovan Mitchell gets there, Montrezl Harrell gets there. Now it's look at these guys. Okay, we'll raise you. We'll raise you, our guys. I mean, there's a chance Anthony Davis could be the best player in the league starting next year. I think he is right now.
Jesus Christ, man.
But look at the All-Star teams next year. You could possibly have 8 Wildcats on the All-Star team.
I didn't think of that. Yeah.
That's a good point.
So Carrie, to Terry's point, Louisville, in the city of Louisville, he's right. Trez, Donovan Mitchell, but then our alumni, our guys said, "Okay, hold our beers. Check this out." So they just took it to a new level. Carrie, what say you about the NBA playoffs?
Yeah, and I'll admittedly haven't been paying much attention because I'm not a really big NBA person. I've kind of been following it on Twitter, with what Hero and Bam and all those guys have been doing. But obviously, again, like I said, Cal can just go to this game and be like, "Hey, let me show you all the players that I got in the NBA finals right now," or just even had that were in the bubble, because not all the teams made it into the bubble, not all the teams made it into the playoffs, that kind of thing. So to me, hey, it's a really great advertisement for UK.
There's got to be a way, James, that Pat Riley could pull this off, where Cal is on video, bright hard camera shot, during the game. Why not?
I mean, I'm surprised Cal hasn't snuck his way into that bubble yet. That's what I'm waiting for. Cal
clearly his spirit is there.
Bubble. He wants to, man. I tell you, back to a point Terry was making. I've always, AD's always been my favorite Kentucky Wildcat in the NBA. Here recently, but man,
greatest of this era right now. Well, yeah, Cal's era for sure.
Or Cal's era, yeah. But man, Jamal Murray stole my heart.
Oh, man. Terry, I'll have to say this. I'm not an NBA guy. I'm a college sports guy. But I wasn't. The playoffs started. Yeah, and I admit there were some really good games. There's been some really good games that I would literally watch from beginning to end. And during those games, there was a Kentucky player that was just balling.
And that's the thing too is Anthony Davis. Because the argument always is Anthony Davis is going to be Anthony Davis with or without Kentucky, right?
Right.
That's the argument. But look at Tyler Hero, mid-round pick. Look at Bam Adebayo, mid-round pick. Jamal Murray, I tweeted out at the beginning of the playoffs, I forget about him.
Yeah.
Like when I'm rattling off NBA Cats, I forget about Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
But think about this next year. Anthony Davis is going to be the dude in LA. Cat's going to be the dude in Minnesota. Booker's the dude in Phoenix. I love Jokic, but Murray's going to be the dude in
It's a
Denver.
good combo, though. Yeah.
Yeah, they've
Great.
got that communication.
Mm-hmm.
Bam is the best all-around player in Miami. Just look at all these guys. You're going to have like 7 or 8 guys that are the man on their team. That
We're gonna
is ridiculous.
Several guys, upper tier level guys.
I mean,
Yeah.
De'Aaron Fox is the man in Sacramento.
Oh, he's getting
Yeah,
paid.
jeez. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? Randall's still balling in, where's he at? New York.
for the
Yeah.
Knicks,
So, I
yeah.
mean,
PJ Washington, all NBA
well, yeah.
rookie.
Yeah.
With Hero. I mean, there's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had a really good season with the
Yeah.
Thunder. I mean, we can keep on
he
going
is.
here.
I forget. Yeah, but
He's
Well, and
really good.
that's what I'm saying. We forget there's not every team made the bubble. So now, you forget about some of these teams that have players that didn't make the bubble.
Yeah.
All right. Real quick, let's do some quick takes. NFL takeaways so far, James.
It's you know what the first couple of weeks of college football, you could tell that they hadn't been practicing the way they usually do. But honestly, the NFL has not taken a step back in regards to limited practices and whatever. I think the product's been really good
So far.
It's not as weird watching those games without fans in college games because really you don't really pay attention to the crowd that much in the NFL. It's more of a TV product. So I've been enjoying the NFL. I thought it hasn't taken a step back or a drop off at all.
Terry.
Injuries. That I listened to a podcast before the season with a physiologist or whoever was on ESPN talking about that was going to be the thing to look for.
It's a great
more so than just practicing. It's the soft tissue stuff. It's the joints. It's things of that nature. But the product, I think, is still the like James said, is still good. That's the beauty of the NFL. It really is next man up. Outside of the quarterbacks, you don't really fall in love with a lot of these guys. So, so far so good.
Carrie, answer. Well, before you answer the NFL question, I got to ask this. You'll see it. Can you answer that question for us? How many beers she can ask Carrie? How many beers she can?
Oh Lord, I lose track at some point. I don't know. We're looking at the 10,
I lose track.
10, 12 range. I don't know.
Enough said. Real quick, NFL takeaways for you. Okay.
I've enjoyed the product on the field, and I do take Terry's point about the injuries, and that's what I was kind of worried about with college in March, especially with these guys not having access to facilities and that kind of thing. But I think on the NFL level, and they did have a lot of big time players get injured. This past?
Did you see that hit on Burrow the last weekend?
Oh my God!
Yeah.
The way his head snapped.
That poor guy.
But I think part of that too is, I've always felt like the NFL has kind of just a set play calls that they do. So they're not super creative, which again may lead to more injuries on the offensive side because the defense knows what the offense is going to do. But the bottom line is I think the product on the field has been decent enough to watch anyway.
Okay. Real quick, James, any thoughts on the Major League Baseball playoffs?
Thank God the Reds are gone.
Yep.
That
That's all I
marathon.
got.
My God. Terry, MLB.
Thank God for the Reds being gone too. I am definitely against the Reds. It's too many teams. I hope they don't do it like this moving forward. The best of 3. You've got a bunch of teams with losing records in. It's really diluting the product. So I hope this doesn't continue moving forward. But I love baseball, but thank goodness the Reds are out and they didn't score a run. So yeah.
You, Carrie Lewis, MLB.
Not a baseball fan. Going to be interesting to see though what happens when they go into the bubble for the last round of the playoffs in the World Series, which I think is going to happen.
What was it? How many teams made it into the playoffs? Like 14 or
It was
16.
Yeah.
16. That was stupid.
Just in for James and Terry, God said, you're welcome in regards to thank MLB. So
Way to go, Jay.
Yeah, I heard some voice. Either I've lost my mind or whatever. Okay, we're down to our final shots. Carrie, I'll start with you, ladies first. Give me your final take.
And if you would have told me that college football was going to be played back in March, I would have said, you were insane. What are you on? Give me some, because I needed to get through the quarantine. But thank God it's back. Honestly, I don't know what
you're welcome from God. But
right? Be dealing without it. So yes, I know there's been some hiccups, and I know we're trying to follow protocols, and I know there's still a pandemic going on, but man, I'm grateful. I'm super grateful. And also, you know what? I'm going to shout out real quick to Terry's super awesome microphone that he's got going on with the headset and the mic.
He does, man. Look at that.
Yeah.
James, I know you've got some toys. We'll talk about that later. Your equipment. Well,
I don't know it. I don't want to know.
Oh, I got you. I was like, whoa. Yeah, but I really thought it was going to be on my laptop tonight, but I couldn't remember the password for my other email account. So I just threw guys. I was running behind anyway, so I was like, I'll just throw it on the phone. I know it's not the best. I apologize, but
it's all right.
Sorry.
It's just our re-debut.
Yeah, no big deal.
No big deal.
No big deal.
Terry, your final take for the night.
My final take, kind of a serious thing with the NBA Finals wrapping up and the NBA kind of being the league leading in the social justice side of things. My hope is that as the finals draw to a close and as football really gets going in earnest, hopefully that message is something that does not get lost as a side note to, hey, you remember what happened during the Corona 2020? Yeah, there was, we were marching for social justice. It just becomes a footnote. So my hope is that things continue even after the games are done.
Yeah, we're still a long ways from really coming together as one, and no rhyme and reason why we can't. Round Daddy, your final shot for the night.
I'm just happy to be back, man. It's a lot of fun. Good seeing all of you. Some good people here tonight, talking some good sports, and I've just enjoyed myself. And I think I've honed my skills even more, Kevin. So hopefully,
that's why you're here.
As the season goes on, this product, this show continues to build and becomes a fine-oiled machine, as they say. Yes.
Well, we've changed the theme, guys. It's Round of Shots, hosted by Kevin Hale, featuring Round Daddy James Streble. So he's our featured man. All right, David Bouvier, Justin Jeffries, first half, Carrie Lewis, Terry Brown, some of my favorite people. Love you guys for hanging out. We will be going to Monday nights. This was our thing for tonight, just to get the ball rolling. And so Monday nights, Justin Rowland, we know we got Justin on. So stay tuned for that. But Round of Shots exclusively on YouTube and Periscope. Thanks, people, for hanging out with us. Again, guys, thanks for doing it, and we'll do it again.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thanks.
Good night, everybody.
All right, peace out.